One question you've probably heard people ask, or a statement you've probably heard people say, is, where would I be without God? And then, people will say things, maybe I'd probably be dead, or I'd be in jail, or in the streets. But the truth is, the answer to that question is the same for everybody. Nobody would even be here. Nobody would exist without God. One of the most profound questions ever asked is, why is there anything instead of nothing at all? Why does anything exist instead of nothing? And when you ask this question, this goes beyond, this goes deeper than any, kind of excuse that people try to make to get rid of God. People say, well, evolution, or just, the Big Bang. This question goes deeper than the Big Bang. This question goes deeper than evolution, because we're not asking what started us, or where we're asking, why does anything at all exist instead of nothing at all? And then when we look deeper, and when we even go to the scientists, we see that there was a time where nothing existed. This explanation of a Big Bang is pretty much telling us that there was nothing, and now there is the universe, the creation of space, the creation of time. So where could all this come from? And then you have about 3 different things you can choose from. You can either say that everything came from matter. So you take something like a rock, or take something like, just physical water or anything. And then we can look at, what does water do, or what do rocks do? And you know what? They never do anything. They always do the exact same thing. They stay as they are. And the second law of thermodynamics shows us that they wear down, they break down, and after a while, there's nothing at all. And then you can look at things like energy. And what does energy do? Energy is either converted into matter. Energy is either used to destroy. As we see the energy from the sun, it wears down and breaks down things. Energy also is wearing down. Energy is also a part of the second law of thermodynamics. And then we have minds. And what do minds do? Well, minds create. Minds put together order. We can use our minds to create movies. We can use our minds to create video games. We can use our minds to put together sentences. We can put together information. We can create models of work. So when we look at creation, and then we look at these 3 things, which one of these things is more likely to be eternal? In order to create the order that we see, in order to create what we see, what makes more sense? Would it make more sense from order, design, everything that we see in this universe? Does it make more sense for it coming from matter, from it coming from energy, or from it coming from our mind? I think it's obvious that everything that we see had to have come from our mind. One of the most simple, but also very intelligent, very logical statements from over 2,000 years ago, right here in Hebrews 3, verses 3 through 4. For Jesus has been counted worthy of greater glory than Moses, just as the builder of a house has greater honor than the house itself. And every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything. Very simple logic, very easy to understand. Everything that is built, everything that has some kind of order and construction to it, is always coming from a mind, and there's no exceptions for this. We never see, construction and all these type of designs coming from something that isn't a mind. Now, one thing that a lot of people will try to run to, one of the only ones that they really have to run to, is the snowflake. People will say things like, oh, well, the snowflake is just nothing but nature. And then what you're doing is you're begging the question. Because say you see something like a cookie cutter machine, and they're cutting out cookies and they're printing out these cookies. And then if somebody was to come and see this, transpiring, they will see these cookies coming out in this shape, and they go, oh, well, there's no intelligence at work here. It's just this machine, mindlessly pumping out these cookies. And of course, there is no mind in the machine, but there is a mind behind the machine that put the machine together. And this is the same thing with the snowflake. Even though the snowflake seems to be coming from a mindless process, well, if there's a mind behind all the processes that put together what makes the snowflake, then of course there is still a mind behind it. There still is a mind attached to it. So, you'd have to beg the question to say that snowflakes aren't designed also. They also are designed. Just the same way those cookies are designed, even though there's not a person sitting there cutting each one out by hand. There was a process put into making a machine that makes them to be shaped this way. And this is the same thing with snowflakes or anything else. So design, order, all these finite things that are put together in order for life, this irreducible complexity that we have in life. The reasons why our cells work and the reason why our bodies work is because everything is at the right place at the right time. All this takes an intricate design, and all this takes a mind. So the question, where would we be without God, is always the same. We wouldn't be at all. Why does anything exist at all? Because there is a God. There is a God. There was a mind at the beginning. In the beginning, there was God. And then the next question is, where will we be without Jesus? And without Jesus, we would all be completely deprived. Jesus and his church is the restrainer, is what's keeping the evil from being as bad as it could be. Sin is a disease that is destroying the world slowly and surely. Even the creation groans for redemption, and so does every person. And whether we realize it or not, if it wasn't for Jesus, everybody would be headed to the same place, destruction, eternal destruction. So while we have the chance, we have to understand who our Creator was, because everything was created through him and for him. And while we have the chance, we have to put our faith in Jesus Christ in order to have everlasting life. Something to think about.